What's up, guys? This is George again, and in this one we are going to focus mainly on wrapping up the series, the login and registration series. And just for you guys, I have created this GitHub repository, and in this repository you are going to find all of the codes that we are writing here on the screen, just so that you can compare your code versus mine if something goes wrong in any ways. So without further ado, let's begin. So we will start now. Right now we have this login page, but we don't have a registration page. So if we go register.php, it's a blank screen. So what we are going to do right now is that we are going to link this login page here by adding a link on this section here, that when a user clicks that link, it should take him or her to the registration page. So there we go. So let's just have a paragraph after this div here, and then this paragraph we will be having a link, and this link will point to register.php, and in this link we will say register. So let's see how it looks like. Register. Yeah, perfect. So after having that link, what we are going to do is create now the registration form. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to go to copy everything inside the login page, login.php, open up the registrar and just paste everything there. And make sure that our login and registration systems, login and registration pages are different. Let's do register here, so that when we go register, yeah, we have register here. And then another thing is, in our register.php, let's change this back to login. And what we can do, we can say already have an account and then register. So that's what we can do. Right. So if the user already have an account, just click login and then we are back. So we need to change also the URL. So if we refresh, hit login, we are back to the login, hit register, we are back to the register. So what we're going to do right now next is that we now need to customize the registration form. So please login, please register below is fine. And then we are going to change this the username. We will leave the username. We can also now add the first name, so first underscore name, which the placeholder now should be first name. And then what we can do, we can just duplicate this first name and have last name. That's it. And if we try to refresh our page, we have first name, last name, username, password. So we need to confirm our password, a field that can enable the user to confirm our password, the password. What we can do now, we can just go for the name and do password confirm. So the app is password also, and the placeholder is password confirmation. So what we can do here, username, we can just do for the placeholder for readability, username, password, password also. Yeah. So instead of doing login here, we can do register, and the name of the button should also be register. And then we have an account login. That's super. So what we can do now, after refreshing here, we have a good registration form. Please register below. We have first name, last name, username, password, confirmation, and the password. Actually, we need to have this password before the password confirmation. Perfect. So after having this registration form, what we're going to do is now we want to process. Once the user fills in everything here and clicks the register button, we want to process now this form. And here is how we can do that. So in here we are starting our sessions, we are preparing the error variable, and we are checking for the login button. So we changed it to register. We should check for the register. We are taking the username and the password, and we are encrypting it at the same time. You should not do this at this time. We should just take it. So let's do this and say password confirm. So password confirm, we have it. So we do for also first name and last name. Perfect. So we have, oh my god, last name. We have last name. After that, we have first name, last name, username, password, and password confirm. And if you're wondering, we have this system, which is our database, and we have users. So we have a username, a password, first name, and last name. That's exactly why I have used first name, last name, username, and password. And this password confirm is basically for just making sure that the user correctly types the password. So after that, what we can do now, we can start by we can prepare our. So what we can do, we can just change this query. We are not selecting now. We are inserting. Insert into users. Insert into users. Values. What are the values are we inserting into users? So the first value is called an ID. So we are auto incrementing an ID, so we don't need that. The second one is called username. So we go for username. The third one is password, and the other one's first name and last name. So we have first name and last name. So the order has to be just like how it appears on your database. So username, password, first name, last name. Username, password, first name, last name. That's it. So we have our query for inserting the data into the database. Yeah. So but this password here, it's not encrypted. So we first have to check. So what we can do is we can do if $and password is equal to $and password confirm there only. So if it's not equal, to password confirm, just do the error and say maybe password mismatch, anything similar to that. Else, now we can now proceed processing our form. So we can take everything here and paste it in there, and then kind of indent it a little bit. Yeah, so what we can do now that we have this query, we can create now our query against this connection. And right now, what we can do now, let's just put this outside here. So in our query here, we have prepared now our insert query. Now that we have our query for inserting the user, what we can do now is that I think at first we need to encrypt. If the password and password confirms, we should encrypt. If we should encrypt the password before, so we do password equals SHA-1. That's the encryption we chose. Equals password. So we are basically reassigning the password, the old password with the new value, which is a result of the encryption of SHA-1 of the password that the user entered. And then this encrypted password is the password that we are storing inside the database. And then after that, what we can do is after this query has been executed, we can grab the ID of the row created inside the database by this command here. So we can get that by saying mysqli _ insert _id, and in here we do the $ connection. So whenever in MySQLi, whenever you insert value inside your database, after that, if you do MySQLi insert ID, this function will return the value of an ID inserted inside the database, the table. So we are doing that so that we can have the ID of the inserted data. Now after that, what we can do is that we can just see if we have this ID. So we can do if the insert ID exists, this means this query was performed successfully. What we can do, we don't have a loop anymore. We don't need a loop. What we can just do is that we can do, so username equals this username, so no need for this one again. So we just put the username to the username, and we can have now we can create another session variable called $ID, and we can do that as insert ID. Yep. So after that, if this query right here did not go well, we will not have the insert ID. And if we do not have the insert ID, now we will not execute this block, but of course we will execute this block. So in this block, what we can do, we can just say there was an error performing the query. We can just say that there was. So after that, yeah, pretty much it. So let's test our code and see if it works. Yeah, so username first name is just George, last name, last username gr, password, register. Wow, we are successfully logging in, and we are successfully redirecting. We are successfully registering the user. So here is what's happening here. What's happening is that we when the user clicks the register button, we grab all the fields and assign them into our variables here, and thereafter we compare if the password entered is exactly equal to the confirmed password entered. If this equation here evaluates to true, this means that the passwords don't match actually. So if the password don't match, then we just set up this error, and if you can see, we are not doing anything here. If we execute this block and then this block is not executed, and then we continue executing here, and then we can just echo that error out here. The error we prepared here, which we came and populate here, and then we display it here. After that, if this equation here evaluates to false, this means the execution will continue at this block here. And in this block, we're just basically encrypting the password. We are preparing our query to insert the user inside the database, and we are leaving the first field as a blank field because automatically the MySQL will automatically increment this ID. Thereafter, we are executing our query here, and we are getting the ID of the row inserted inside the database here, and we are just testing if that ID exists, if we have that ID, because MySQL insert ID will be 0 if the connection was not successful. If it is 0, then the execution will continue here. If to return a valid number, then we will just set a session which has got an ID and a username, and basically, and then we can just header to the dashboard.php presumably. So here what exactly we are doing is that we are creating something like we are creating a situation where we are logging in a person and we are redirecting somewhere in another page, but we need to know exactly that person who has logged in. After that, now we have the dashboard area. So if that is the case, now we can now create the dashboard with logout button. There we go. So if we head over to the dashboard, we have nothing here going on. So what actually we can do is that we are starting the session, we are getting the user. We can now get the ID too, ID, and then we can do, we can just come here to the register. Let's come here to the login and copy everything, and come back to the dashboard, and then we can just get rid of that and get rid of that too. And then we have styles. This hero, we don't need this one anymore. Yeah, good. Thereafter, we can now create a simple dashboard. So I'm going to be using some Bulma classes here. Then the aim of this tutorial is not for you guys to learn Bulma, so I'll just type it and then we will proceed after that. So we have this navigation and a main section here. This has Bulma templates, and you can find them at the Bulma website. So the main aim here is not for you guys to learn Bulma. The main thing here is for you guys to know how to create a login registration system, and actually you can learn Bulma through the documentations, and it's very simple. You can just copy and paste and see how things work out. So what we are going to do here is that now that we have this login, let's see how it looks like. There we go, a logout button. We have welcome somebody. So what we're going to do is we are going to, at first, we are going to log out a person, and we are going to log out a person if the button logout has been clicked. So if this button here, if this button here, this button has been clicked, we will pass this logout variable in here. So basically, once you do this, it means that it marks the end of the URL, and then everything follows here. These are URL parameters. So these are parameters that you can pass on, and all parameters which have been passed here can be accessed using the $_get global method of accessing global variables. So what we can do here, we can just say if is set. If is not set, let's say if is set, the $_get logout. If the $_get logout is set, so this means that person wants to log out. So what you can do, we can just session, we can do session destroy, and we can do header location to the login.php. So we are basically checking, logging out the user, logging out the user. So now the user that has been logged out, we now need to restrict this page from being accessed by people who are not logged in. In order to restrict this page, restrict page, the dashboard, restricting the dashboard. So we can do, what we can do is we can just check if is not set $_session. So if we can pick anyone, we can just say username. If the username password is not set, then this person is not logged in. because if a person is logged in, it means the username session has to be set. So what you can do, we can just header location login, so that this user can log in and obtain a new session. So that's it. So what we can do here, let's come back. This is register. Let's go back to login. So if we do admin password and hit login, we have been logged in. So if we log out and attempt to go back to the dashboard, we are being redirected back to the login page. If we go back to the login, to the dashboard, we are being redirected back. If we hit register, we have this registration form and say, let's say first name, last name, user name 1, pass 1 to 3, 1 to 3, and hit login. Yeah, we are logged in. If we go back here and browse, so we have this username, user1, first name and last name. That was it, guys, for the login and registration system. So now what you guys can do is try to expand and explore more of the features of the functionalities that you can add to this kind of a system and see how everything turns out. So if you like this video, don't forget to click the like button below, and if you want to be notified if future tutorials are being created, then by all means click the subscribe button and don't forget the bell icon so that you can be notified exactly the moment when new videos are being uploaded. And after this series, I'm working on a mobile application series that will be designed using the Google's latest mobile technology called Flutter. Actually, we will be creating a mobile application that talks to a Laravel backend. So we will be coding the Laravel backend and coding the mobile application front end. And of course, we will also create that Laravel backend will also have its own web front end that will be coded using Vue.js. Yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in into this channel and enjoy your time.